when something happened, when something tragic or sad or painful happened, and when the loss of someone we love, for example, happened, the closer that person was to us, the bigger blessing someone was, the grief is certainly significant, and it's worth mourning. And it's, in one way, it's kind of a slowing down. And I mean, there are cultures where mourning and being sad is not appropriate. And sometimes in my culture, where I come from in Serbia, you rarely see a man crying. You see that as his weakness. So very often in that way, we are undermining or we are brushing off the loss that he went through. On the other hand, if you are kind of swallowing your pain, and if you don't want to feel it, it has kind of a tendency to bite you. But it has a tendency to come out in a different way, in anger, in a different bitterness. And also, if we don't want to feel the pain, sometimes we build the wall so we're gonna go through life without being that vulnerable and open to suffer. But then building that wall, we protect ourselves from good things. There's not a wall that the bad things are not gonna come. And it is very important because life has a tendency to be narrated, to be a story, or we can see it as a kind of a spring that needs to go. You can't just stop the spring of going. You can, if you choose something not to be interwoven or share in that story, that it is very unsettling, and we're not well. And it's kind of like if you, let's say you fold the clothes and put them very nicely in the closet, and there are certain things that you are not comfortable, and then you just decide just to kind of, make a ball of clothes and just throw it. When you open the closet, eventually it's going to come, and it kind of swallows you. And we can really, if we kind of want to keep it and not mourn and not share and not be open and vulnerable to feel that. And sometimes we don't want to do it because we feel that it's going to swallow us, it's going to be overwhelming. Well, actually, if we kind of try to put that ball under the surface of water, it has a tendency to jump, and we don't know when it's going to happen. And I'm not even going into like a trauma and secondary trauma and PTSD that could be one of the consequences of not going and dealing with that. But let's just even go to a simple thing, that are things that are worth living with and rejoicing over are certainly the things worth mourning. So if we lose a child, it is certainly worth mourning and giving time to kind of let go and to remember. It's kind of like a milestone of things that happen, because the things that happen, they kind of have a tendency to cut our lives. The time is not anymore, it's chronos that just flows, it's kairos, it's being cut. We remember things before and after the tragic. The people in Ukraine are going to always remember before the war, after the war. That's how we measure time. And if we don't share that story, it's always going to be cut and needs to be shared and part of our life. So not cutting and having bits and pieces.